Is ready, Brandy? I'll call the May 9th, 2023 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. Our first order of business is election of officers. I'll open the nomination for chairman. Do I have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate John Chevalier as chairman.
Do I have any other nominations? Seeing none, nominations are closed. Yes, John,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
That's a
Well, we
vote on
have, we
that?
have to vote, yeah.
Sorry.
You're on the phone.
Unopposed.
Have you been at the dispensary today?
You want to go?
Okay,
Sorry. We'll take a vote.
okay. Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Billy.
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
Dennis,
Hi.
John,
Abstain.
5-0.
I'll do better on this one. Now I'll open nominations for vice chair. I'll nominate Rob. Any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll close nominations.
Okay. John,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Deb. Rob,
I suppose I'll abstain.
Billy.
Aye.
And Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
5-0.
Along with the chairman.
Yeah.
Correct.
Wait, what?
Too late,
You have second class.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Isn't it hard, John? I've been doing it for a year.
Now open up nominations for secretary.
Deb,
Yeah.
Can you run back to back? I mean, can you? Well, Deb, do you want to do it again?
Sure, why not?
Then I'll nominate Deb. See how I asked for her permission first?
I see that. Their nominations. I'll close nominations for secretary.
okay. Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Billy.
Aye.
Rob. Deb,
Abstain.
Dennis,
Aye.
and John.
Aye.
5-0.
That's right.
Do you want to have a all-in-one swearing in? You don't have to work, no, never mind. You don't have the oath, and I don't think there's a legal requirement.
I don't think we ever did have that.
I'm just used to the board stuff, so.
I
Now
state your
that we
name.
have changed it. You're no longer eligible to be the chair.
Scoot over.
Okay, I'll just swap.
Okay. Yeah, the little
Where's the big gavel? Did you steal it?
I practiced.
All right. You ready? With that business being taken care of, we will move to item 3, approve the April 11th, 23 Planning Commission minutes.
Move we approve.
Do I have a
Second.
second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 4-1.
All right, moving along, we will have item 4, the staff report.
Or I'm
Jack?
sorry, 5-1.
I wrote by the. Staff report should be very short. The first thing I'd like to clarify is the reason for the vote is we vote after every election, on the, officers here. And this one becomes particularly important because chairman was Melissa Wilson, she became Alderman Wilson, and aldermen and mayors can't sit as chair last year. As such, we have former alternates. We have 13 single family permits this year.
No, it is not. Sorry, thank you. We have 13 permits so far with 5 of them sitting on Brandy's desk. They arrived today. So we'll be at 18 by the end of the week, thereabouts. Commercial, we haven't had anything new, but we still have a lot of the construction that we have seen for a while go on. Several of the projects are getting closer to being complete. Attic storage is just about ready to start there. Landscaping, the Smithville Townhomes project did landscaping today. They're getting closer. So things are starting to move along on several of the projects. It took forever, but McBee's is not only out of the ground, they've got a roof on it. They have a concrete roof on it and they're making progress finally. And the walls for Richardson Street Plaza are up. There'll be a water line and then water line is going to be public. Everything else is private. That should start soon. I don't know for sure when. I'm not directly following any of the infrastructure stuff anymore. That's under public works. So that's moving. The subdivisions that we have active are Diamond Creek. It's got 3 or 4 now, Brandy, 4 houses in it. It's set for, it had to go under construction. We had 2 more buildings in Diamond Creek. Excuse me, I just said Diamond Creek. Eagle Ridge, 2 more buildings, 4 more units will be going in there. They've been selling those units it took a while to get started with everything. Lumber prices have been plummeting. So the last of the units up there that went in, the price per side just for the lumber has went down $15,000. So that's a significant drop in price, which should reflect out later. But I think the problem we're going to have as a community and for the builders out there and developers is just like the Tesla product that was just dropped in price substantially. You had a whole lot of people that just bought them here and now they're going to be selling here. So I don't know how that's going to shake out, but we had a similar scenario back in 2008, 9 and 10. But I don't see the economy causing the ripples that cause that. This is just the product pricing's coming down. And it seems to be across the board in the economy. From what I can see, cars are starting to show up on lots now. So there's more product there. Prices are going down for a lot of stuff. Although I also think demand's going to start dropping too. I think with the banks, we got some people getting a little nervous. The reason I say all this is I'm trying to help with the budgeting forecast for next year on revenue estimated from our permits. And it's a crapshoot. We have no idea what's going to happen with the economy. We're still at 3.4% unemployment, but there's so many people that are looking for help, looking for workers. So I don't know what. Nothing makes sense in the normal sense of our economy. So that's where we're at. Yeah. So that's all I have for staff report.
Jack, back to McBee's, any timeline on the Richardson Street renos, DOT, the light, the turn lanes?
There is ongoing conversations with Department of Transportation, MoDOT folks. Since last summer, there have been 3 series of staff changes at MoDOT. So we're on our 3rd set. And hopefully we have somebody that'll be able to push that process through. It's a cost share scenario. We just don't know. I fully anticipate the 2nd phase of that senior housing project around the library will likely be coming, if you've seen the ads up there by it. And I know that there was something submitted to that state project, whether they got their funding or not, I don't know, but that will also That's the trigger that'll bring Richardson to the school. So there's gonna be a whole lot of stuff going on at that point.
You're talking about the senior housing right there.
Yeah, right by the library on Richardson. They've submitted something to the state because there's a sign out said future, whatever. It's
gonna be.
south side of Richardson.
And they're required to build that, finish that street out to the school prior to even breaking ground, or how's that?
Well, that'll be part of their infrastructure obligations. We don't know the scope of it. Since they originally went through, every single thing the city's done has changed. We've got a new water plan, sewer plan, transportation plan. We're working on a stormwater portion of a master plan as well, and we're now an MS4 on our own permit. So we've got all those extra standards for those. So all of those things get pushed down. All the extra work gets pushed down to developers now. So whatever standards there are out there, they will have to bring it up to meet it to
And
today's standards.
they'll work with the school district, because I mean, I believe they're planning to do their sidewalk and stuff like that out there. When they do all this stuff, they'll work with them, make sure that that's part of the
Well,
plans, or
here's the problem. When the original project went through, they put the signs out and started that conversation. It was almost 2 years before they actually brought something forward.
Okay.
And those signs have been out for 7 months now, I think. So it could be next year, whenever. I don't know. I will say, when that project went through, the governor's decision on which projects got the funding was a December decision. They made that the first week of December. I don't know if it's because, and then in January, the new governor stopped the program. That governor's no longer there. We got a new governor again. They're bringing it back. I don't know what that means. So could be by January, they find out if the state funding will be available for them. If so, then I would anticipate they would start that process coming before you all.
All right, any further questions? Okay,
Before we move forward, I just have one part and it's for general comment. It's not on a particular agenda item, so I don't know when you want to do that either now or before we adjourn.
yeah, we can do it now. That's fine.
Christine Bunch?
And speaking of that, as far as the public comment, is that the rules and regulations regarding that, is that something that the aldermen decide, or is this group?
You
Can they
guys.
come together? Because one of the things I would suggest is that when there's not a lot of people here, like, not limit it to like 3 minutes, like maybe we can go up to 5 or something like that, and then just kind of,
That's
it.
a commission decision.
all right, so how would we, do we need to put that on an agenda, or can we just?
Yeah, I would suggest we consider doing it in a bylaw scenario. That
Okay.
You guys
Can
have
we
a
make it-
conversation.
Fluid where it's at the discretion of
No,
at the
if
time
it's-
of the meeting?
If it's in a bylaw,
Okay,
yeah, if
Yeah.
it's in a bylaw, yes.
because like today, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure
Otherwise,
next-
it's a discretion of the chair. If there's any objection to it from any of the members, there's a Robert's Rules of Order procedure to call a point of order, and then you guys vote on whether it's going to be 5 minutes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make sure there's a good policy, that gives us the, ability to, and that way we're fair to everybody.
Yep.
Okay, so would that be on the next agenda probably?
Yeah, we can put it
Okay.
up. And ultimately, it won't be for vote. Because I'm not going to draft your rules for you. I want you guys to have input. I'll provide you with a rough draft. We'll
Okay.
discuss it. And then I'll come back with whatever you guys tell me to write.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Christine Bunch, please state your name and address.
Hi. Christine Bunch, 18608 Primrose. Mr. Chevalier, you never cease to amaze me. I think that's a great idea because I do think there are a lot of people that do want to publicly speak. So that kind of opens up the door a little bit. And Deb, you're absolutely right. Sometimes I do see the commissioner grant extra time as they did with you recently. So I'm just humbly standing before you. I have a lot to learn. I do. And I'm learning from you guys, whether it be online, in person, or by attending these meetings. So I'm just going to say right there, I'm learning. And so if you could give me grace as I'm learning, I would appreciate it, as well as also having a voice. That is what I'm also asking. Deb Dodson, at the last meeting, you stood up here and you spoke about Facebook posts and social media, and it was part of the provisions of me not being able to sit on a volunteer basis on a committee. And I would just like to address some things. When things are said online on Facebook, even by you, that you have said, and I'll give you an example because it has to do with planning and zoning. That's why I'm here. I'm sorry, next door, social media. Social media, next door. When planning and zoning was discussing a plot of land that had always been business property, B3, and it was brought up in an alderman meeting that it was R3. And you said online, and I believe even Chevalier backed it as well, that it was in fact, you guys were saying, actually, the fact of it being residential, because that's what the GIS map said. And I understand you guys are going by that. You guys explained that thoroughly, so I completely understand. But you said online that I was not correct, that I needed to learn, which is true. I'm learning a lot. But this particular point, I had heard from the landowners and area neighbors that it was always been business property. Or at least up until the 80s or whatever. I don't know what it was before then, but and so on social media next door, you basically degraded me a little bit. I'm trying to come to the table and have a voice with the city and say, wait, no, I've talked to landowners and I'm passionate about it, right? Because I care about Smithville, really, truly care about Smithville. And you basically degraded me on social media, saying that it was residential, Christine, and, you know, kind of dismissed that. This was then voted upon at the planning and zoning meeting that it was residential. You guys all yes, 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 and went to the alderman meeting. And at the alderman meeting, an alderman brought up, I think we should look at this, you know, if GIS map is wrong or something like that. And then it was sent back here to planning and zoning. I can't remember if you guys voted yes or not at that point. I don't remember, but it did go back to alderman meeting. And at the alderman meeting, they did have a big, page and a half, you know, informational sheet, I believe from Jack when we came to the meeting, that it was in fact business. So my point is, what people write, even you, Deb, on social media should not affect somebody trying to volunteer for a committee. It just simply shouldn't. People say things all the time. Chevalier, in the last 6 years, God love you, but you have kind of stepped the line on social media a lot of the times. You play on both sides and hurt a lot of people's feelings online, myself included. So I understand you guys are pushing me back. I get that. And I will try to learn better and do the rules properly so I can at least have a voice and sit at the table with one of you one day, whether that even be on a volunteer basis. But I will not be degraded without having a voice back to you, Deb, when you're going to accuse me of social media things and I see your posts. I've had to even block you. I can't even communicate with you on social media because you hurt my feelings so much. So it should not hinder me from sitting on a volunteer committee when you and even Chevalier have done the same things.
Right.
So
I think we're out of time for this.
Thank you.
We get your point. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is a public hearing. Is there something specific I need to read out for this? Okay, so we just debate public hearing to vacate an easement between lots 5 and 6 Fairview Crossing North Subdivision. I just open it up. All right, we're now open.
Yep.
Is there any public comment regarding this issue?
Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to speak?
Mr. Chair, if I may, I will put a little bit of evidence on the staff on this related to it. You have a staff report that's been submitted. The purpose of this process is because if that lot is merged, it's easy to get rid of the boundary line through our minor plat process, but you cannot get rid of an easement through that process. It has to be processed through the Planning Commission and the Board of Aldermen. In this scenario, the plat has not been recorded, so the proposed recommendation on vacating this easement would be, so you understand, it's to actually pull it from the plat that you've already approved so that everything has a vote, goes through the board. It's just when that document's ready to be recorded, it doesn't have to go through the backwards process of waiting till it's recorded, then do this, then come back and change. It just, we can streamline it all for everyone's sake. And
So the only reason we would have that easement is if there were two buildings,
well, no, not two buildings, two lots.
two lots.
Subdivision, the
Right.
subdivision ordinance requires easements to be placed to provide access for utilities to serve the building.
And we want to build a building across both lots.
And if they want to do that, that's how you get rid of that line.
Okay.
You don't have to have an easement on every boundary line. You just have to have an easement for each lot so that utilities, if need be, can be brought in. This happens to be dead center of two lots that are proposed to be merged. So I just wanted that to be the official staff side of this on the public hearing.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
I'm seeing no other commentary. So we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And move on to item number 6, the easement vacation.
This is the scenario where you all actually vote.
Okay. So do we have any discussion or do we need to make a motion on this first?
Yeah.
All right, do we have a motion to,
Approve.
I'll second that.
all right, I'll open it up for discussion.
So they're just taking the easement that goes east and west, correct? They're keeping the easement on the front.
Correct. They're proposing to wipe away the boundary line so that they can build a building that's kind of centered over that line. And that easement has to go away. They've requested it before the plat has been recorded. So this process would allow you to say that easement's not necessary. It can be vacated. And then it will be amended on their plat that's actually recorded so that they don't have to do 3 different plats and 3 different filings.
But there's still an easement on the south side of.
Oh, yeah. Every other easement, it's the easement that runs laterally between them. That's all.
What are some negatives, if any, by doing this
Um,
from a city perspective?
well, if it means that we would be able to have 2 buildings instead of 1 larger building. That's the only thing I can think of.
But it's still under the maximum square,
That, yeah, if approved, the next item on the agenda is the site plan for this,
12,000, yeah,
and it's reducing it by 10%.
right.
So it reduces the maximum on these 2 lots by 10%.
Well, we can wait till it's.
Yeah.
We've had a motion in a second, haven't we?
Yeah, all right, so unless there's no other comment, no public comment, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, let's take a vote.
Dennis,
Yes.
Deb. Rob,
Aye.
Billy.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
6-0.
All right, passes.
That item will go to the board as a resolution at the next meeting, its next meeting, which is next week. Same time, same place. Just next week.
Okay, next on the agenda is item 7, the site plan review for Fairview North Shopping Center. We have a motion to approve.
So be.
All right, Jack, do you have anything to report?
Just quickly to show you, the staff report identifies the items in the ordinance that have to be addressed. And the plans are attached. There was a subsequent document in my staff report. I made a recommendation that any approval of the site plan be conditioned upon certain changes to the those changes have been submitted and Brandy has provided the commissioners that document, and it is actually attached as the 3rd of 4 pages on the plan sheets. And it was basically to adjust the back of the building so that there is a clear middle or a bottom, top and middle of the building. It was just one solid color. It's been adjusted to have the contrasting grays. The other thing I would highlight to you all, this building is basically the same design as the building at the marketplace. It's just 3 units larger. So instead of 2, when you look at the front of the building, you'll see there are 3 facade, portico, whatever you want to call them, colonnades. The other one up there has two because it was 7 units. This has 3 more, so it has 3 of those. Everything else, including the name on the plans, Charhog, same company. So same material mix, everything's basically the same, except that building had its primary customer entrance faced the private street with its public view from 169, the back of the building, which is why they had to put in the fake windows and all the other things to meet the code. This one doesn't have that.
Drive-through is on the back as well, doesn't it?
It has what?
A drive-through on the back as well?
It's identified there,
Okay.
yes, as a potential.
And is the other potential, that garage door, like a storage facility or something, is that just proposed as a possible
That would be my
spot
guess.
or
That
in that one spot?
there may be customers already potentially identified, so they've identified it in the plan what they want.
If this plan's approved, I mean, is as far as like adding extra garage doors and things like that, I mean, does that have to go back to the approval to us, or does it just?
No, the coloration is the issue, and the layout and design. If they were going to make the whole thing with garage doors, then I would recommend to them that they bring it back, because then it's changing the character of the building. But if they move it from one unit to another, or if the drive-through bump is moved to the north or the south end of the building, I wouldn't see that as a significant. It becomes a scenario where do they meet the building facade requirements? As long as they're meeting the site plan requirements for facade, it doesn't really matter where they sit. We're not approving the actual construction plans. We're approving what the coloration is, the vertical articulation, the horizontal articulation, all those items that are identified in the code. So.
And all the previous buffering and everything between the houses and the building, I mean, that's not changing, right? That's still all there and stuff.
Well, actually, it is changing. It's beefed
Okay.
up.
Oh, it's beefed up.
Beefed up
Okay.
substantially, yes. If you look at the landscape plan, and I can't see where the hoot, Brandy, am I missing it? Is it not here?
Next to the last. page.
Yeah, it's there.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. I need new glasses, so
There's a
I
whole row of
apologize in
trees
advance.
there.
If you see there,
19 additional.
on the, yeah, there are 19 green giants. I don't know if you know what green giants are. They're the extremely fast growing deciduous tree. That's very, very in vogue now. They grow fast, they last, and they create a complete barrier. They are right on the edge of the property line so that it significantly blocks everything.
Nice.
They get to be around 30-something feet tall and very, very dense. So black
Yeah.
light, sound, all kinds of things.
The bigger thing for me on those is they grow quickly.
Yeah.
3 to 4 feet a year. So you don't have to sit around with those little stubby bushes that take 10 years to grow to 10 feet tall. These grow quickly, so.
All right. Discussion?
Okay.
Nope.
I think it's like online, I could be wrong, I don't know, but
Is there someone online who'd like to speak?
Just have a question. Sorry, I wanted clarification. So I know you said that this is just voting on what the appearance looks like, not necessarily like if there are garage doors, if there are drive-through windows, but like you said, this is just strictly for what it looks like and how it appears. And then you mentioned that like some of the view, like when I'm looking at the document, I'm looking at the one that has like, excuse me, the landscape calculations, and I think it's like page 8, whatever it's called. Are any of the items that are like the backs of the stores facing 169? Because I think you kind of said like in one of the descriptions that it was the backside on accident facing 169, but it's not going to be, right?
Yeah, let me clarify. That that mention was of the building that's currently constructed by this same design company, this same look. And it's the building at the marketplace by Price Chopper. And they had to change the back because we have a rule related to primary facades. You have one on the side that fronts the street, and you have one that on the side that fronts the primary entrance. They had to put additional items on that one. But this one doesn't have that. It backs up to single family residential.
So
It had a
that's the
street.
building where Jimmy John's and Domino's,
Yeah,
et cetera.
in the
is.
dental office,
The
yes.
dental office.
And the backside of it, you will see there are fake windows in and the like.
Chelsea.
Well,
that
they're
answer
real
your question?
windows. They just go nowhere.
Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to picture it in my head. And then also like the garages and the drive-through windows, they're not permanent. They're just to give us a visual idea of what it would look like if there were to be one there, perhaps.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct. It depends on the tenants that go in. For example, the existing building up at the marketplace had its little portico for the drive-through on the north edge of the building, but that tenant didn't need one. It was a dental office.
Mhm.
It moved back to the middle, similar to where it is located on this one. So that you get a visual of it.
Mhm.
But the main thing is, like I said, a clear bottom, a clear middle, and a clear top to the building. It helps break up the overall, that big, ugly, one colored, monotonous view of one size, one depth perception scenario. So I hope that answers all your questions.
No, it does. It does. Sorry, I'm just trying to learn. I'm
Sure.
just trying to learn. But thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Is the tenant Long John Silver's is what everyone keeps asking.
I was actually ask if it's Starbucks, but I mean, we're not gonna, put anybody out there. So, or wishful.
Hooters doesn't like that idea.
All right, let's go ahead and take this vote.
Okay, Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Billy.
Aye.
Rob.
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Dennis.
Hi.
6-0.
This too will be on the agenda at the at the Board of Aldermen meeting next week by a resolution.
Last item on the agenda is to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.
Bye-bye.
We're done.